Welcome to the Franchise Woman Podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zorkel Profiles. I'm here with my co host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. So, Tracy, we have a very special guest today, Miss Kayla Bramlet. At 17, Kayla got a job at Frenchies Modern Nail Care franchise as a nail technician. At 19, she bought the nail salon and became one of the youngest franchise owners of any brand in the country. At 23, while still an owner, she became the director of education for the entire nationwide Frenchies franchise system. Kayla took a salon that was struggling and took it over and rebuilt it from the ground up. Kayla, I can't wait to hear the rest of your story.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you guys.
Oh my goodness, Kayla. I think both Rebecca and I really need to know about your entrepreneurial self. I mean, did you always know that you wanted to go into nails or be a business owner?
I actually did. And that's something that I feel so grateful for because, not everybody does know what they want to do when they grow up. Or honestly, I joke and say we're all still looking for what we want to do when we grow up. But I never dreamed of becoming a nurse or becoming a teacher, but somehow I always knew that I wanted to be a salon owner. And it was from many different areas of what come doing nails for my cousins or doing nails for my aunts and uncles to just eventually realizing that what it was I wanted to have an impact on the individuals in this industry.
It's just amazing to me because you remind me a little bit of my 14-year-old granddaughter, Kayla. And I think she was born knowing what she wanted to do. I cannot remember any moment where she didn't know she wanted to do hair. She wanted to own a salon. So are you saying literally going back as long as you can remember, this is kind of the aspiration or the dream you had?
Yeah, it's so crazy because I can't even remember a significant moment where I watched someone do nails and I just knew that's what it was. I can't remember a significant moment, but I knew that ever since I can remember, it's a dream that I had. Just like you said with your granddaughter, I love that.
That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. Most of the time, when we're interviewing individuals on the show, they're like, oh, I stumbled into this and I stumbled into that, and they're falling up, right? So take us back. Like, tell us about growing up. We need to hear more. We need to dig into this.
Yeah. So I grew up with a twin sister and an older brother, and my older brother was only like 15 months older than us. I say that because we were all really close in age. And then my father raised us. He was a single father. And I point this out because he was the hardest worker I knew, the hardest work I still know to this day. And so no matter what was the situation, no matter the circumstance, he was always figuring it out. And he always told us it's just putting one foot in front of the other. And so that's kind of been my motto is you just kind of continue through this one foot in front of the other. And I think it's funny that you say a lot of people stumble into it because no, I didn't stumble into the salon world. Like I said, I've known, but I did stumble into the franchising aspect. I never envisioned a salon being able to expand nationwide and have such a valuable, like a healthy environment and things like that for the people in this industry. I get really passionate about the people in our industry, and I never envisioned a salon franchising. So that was something I did kind of end up stumbling into.
Interesting. So we knew we wanted to be a nail tech. We knew we wanted to own a salon, but you weren't familiar with this marketing strategy of franchising that we can grow businesses through franchising. So take me through the piece where you're in the salon, you're a nail tech, you're working hard because obviously your dad modeled that kind of behavior. What was your day-to-day like during that time? And at what point were you given the opportunity to buy the salon?
Oh, yeah. So I started as a nail technician actually when I was a senior in high school. I had a very strict plan for myself. I was going to get my license when I was a junior in high school, start doing nails as a senior in high school, and then I would do nails as I got through college, and then I would open up a salon. And it was just a perfect timeline, right? Well, we know it doesn't always end up that way. So I started doing nails. I was working through my senior year of high school and throughout college, and I was working for Frenchies and learning about all of the business aspect of it as well. I was trying to be as involved with the business operations as I could because I knew someday I wanted to own one. I didn't know that it was going to be a Frenchies, but I knew someday I wanted to own a salon. So I would take care of clients every day, love taking care of the clients, manicures and pedicures, all of that. But I also got really involved in helping train our nail technicians, helping set up our systems and processes for the franchise, because I started to learn that the vision of franchising Frenchies, it wasn't quite there yet. And I learned about the vision. And so I was working alongside the co-founders of and building all of the systems and processes that we needed to get in place to expand this thing. And so that's what we were doing. I ended up managing our original location. And so that was in Littleton, Colorado. And we, again, were working really hard on just getting everything up and running to kick off the franchising efforts. And that is when I ended up moving to Minnesota. And the location here was the owner had decided that it was time for her to step away. And so I was like, I never imagined that at 19, that would be the time that I decided to become a salon owner. My vision, my plan, it was postponed a little bit past that. But it felt like an opportunity was falling in my lap because I had just moved my whole life over here to Minnesota. And now this door is opening. And so my twin sister did help me in buying the salon. She is a silent partner of the salon, but that's kind of how I ended up. So I worked with Frenchies for so long and learned so much about the business operations and became so passionate about the healthy environment that it created for people in this industry, the growth potential it created. And when I had the opportunity to snag one up, I took it. And that was in November of 2018.
Crazy story. It's like angels going ahead of you, clearing the path.
It's so, yeah, it's really interesting. That makes me think of there was a day that I was just a few weeks before I moved. I didn't know I was moving yet, just a few weeks before. And I was sitting in church and I asked, like, what is next for me? Like, what am I doing? You get in those points where you feel stuck, you wondering if this is right, all of that kind of stuff. And I was sitting in church and I was like, I need you to open a door. I need something to tell me that I'm in the right spot. And I'm not kidding. It was within 2 weeks that I moved to Minnesota and took over a salon.
Oh my goodness. I have chills head to toe. So tell me something. Do you think that a lot of this had to do with your deep faith, that you knew you had a purpose, you knew you had a passion? How do you blend the two?
Yeah. Oh, Tracy, I actually love that question because so many times I actually forget to remind myself how much I've been rooted in my faith. And I do think that so much of my journey, especially when I reflect on it, comes from having faith that I'm here for a reason. I'm gonna find that reason, and becomes more and more clear the more I take one step in front of the other and keep going and keep going.
That is so great.
And it's fueling you, you know. So this is a higher purpose, a meaning, a calling. So it's just not passion by itself. It really is the combination of you have a higher purpose, and the doors are opening, and you're prepared to embrace them as they come. And then you have this beautiful father who taught you a work ethic that, to be candid, is unusual in someone your age.
Yeah. Yes, it's the truth.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful combination. So when you look at your life, going back in this case, is there a mentor you had, a book you read, a pivotal moment, a challenge that you overcame that you can attribute the character that is in within you?
I mean, it's so hard for me not to give it all to my dad. It really is. I have had so many great mentors really throughout watching the co-founders build this, Stephanie and Guy, watching them build something that, I mean, Frenchies was just a tiny little one location in Littleton, Colorado, tucked behind all, I mean, as a speaking of real estate, it was not in a location. And so watching them build this and help build this, building this alongside them has really helped me understand so much of the business operation. So absolutely, I've had invaluable mentors, but I just credit so much to my father when it comes to who I am and who, where my passion comes from, how I know that I'm here to help people. I'm here to help I want to help individuals that are joining this industry realize that doing what you love is enough. You can do what you love for a living. You can make a career doing what you love. All of that really does come from my father and watching him do what he loves and always finding a way to do what he loved to do. He loved software, so that's a little weird, but I'm the
So,
creative one.
so beautiful to give tribute to your dad like that. And I'm sitting here wondering, Kayla, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the confidence or the training? Was it like, oh, I can do this, let me add it? Or was it, wow, I'm learning so much, I could really have an impact here? Or was it a combination of the two?
Oh my gosh, I was not confident. So as a nail technician, we talk about our sales a lot. We will have conversations about how we're rebooking, how we're selling retail, things like that. And the founder had a conversation with me in one of my first years as a nail technician. He's like, Kayla, in the last 6 months, you've sold $3. Our lowest price product is $5. So and I didn't say a single word back to him. I didn't know how to speak really. And so through as I worked for Frenchies and managed the original location, I got thrown a lot of different challenges. So one was, we need you to represent us at this networking group. I had never been to a networking group before. I had never done anything like that before, but I was going to do it. And so I did. I showed up and I learned how to speak in front of 45 people and I just did it. And so it really was, as I knew that one day I wanted to be a salon owner and I wanted to be able to lead individuals through their career paths in this industry, I knew that I was going to have to get uncomfortable. And so that's what I did. I tried to dive into every uncomfortable situation that I could and just embrace it. I'm so lucky that Guy and Stephanie, the founders, trusted to throw me into those situations. Like, she'll do great, she'll do fine. But through those situations, my confidence grew so much. I mean, the first time they had me travel to a salon alone, it helped build my confidence a little bit more. It's all these little challenges that you face throughout the journey, that I faced throughout the journey, that really helped build this confidence. It certainly is not something I was born with.
What an interesting way to look at that, because our confidence does grow as our skills increase, right? But until we can increase those skills, something has to push us out of our comfort zone to build those things, to do things we've never done. And it sounds like passion to some degree, or a sense of purpose to some degree, pushed you out of it, but you've also had some great mentors. I guess where I'm a little bit curious, that a willingness to be uncomfortable, that's not common either. Many of us are like, stay in that comfort zone, don't push it. So give me some insight. Again, born with it, developed it. How are you able to do that?
Think that ends up coming back to my father raising us as a single father. There were so many things that we were forced into because we didn't have a choice. So something my boyfriend will tell me is I lost my inner child too early. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I was forced to. And so, but I do think that being forced to kind of grow up a little bit sooner than maybe some others were made it so I was able to face uncomfortable situations easier than maybe others that hadn't been forced to kind of grow up at that or in those earlier stages. I had so many it was a hard time when I first started working doing nails because I had so many friends that were out just enjoying senior year, right? Like going to every single football game, just enjoying what they should enjoy of senior year. Meanwhile, I was working full time, trying to get into management and just dedicated to doing what I needed to do next in life. So I think that me my our mom left when we were 10 or 11, and so we were really forced to grow up at that point. And I think that is where I was forced to be uncomfortable just right then and there, like, here you go. And I think that's why it made me more capable of stepping into those situations in the future.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your mom. That is a huge situation, right? Like tragedy, loss to overcome. How does that strike you in comparison to other challenges? Like, does that make a lot of other challenges like no big deal because you've already faced one of the most challenging things, which made you a powerhouse?
Yeah, I think so. I think more than I even recognize it, right? Like
Oh,
even just throughout this conversation of, yeah, that made me really uncomfortable, and from a
right.
young age forced me to be uncomfortable. So yeah, I think that it certainly did, again, kind of make me just step up to that next level. And like you said, you like the way you become a powerhouse.
Yeah.
um yeah.
So my question, our lives are very similar, by the way, Kayla. My mother left when I was 9, and my father raised me and my 3 brothers. So I know that story. And as the only girl, I stepped into the mother role. Um, so I'm gonna suggest what your boyfriend is suggesting. Bring that inner child back. At least give her some time to play, right? So you don't have to wait till you're retired. Are you finding time to do that? And if so, how are you playing? How are you finding time to nurture that inner child, as your boyfriend suggests?
Yeah, it's been a big goal of mine this year. We're coming up to the end of the year, so it's been good. There's some times are easier than others, but I talk about getting uncomfortable. He asked me to go play in the leaves last month when it was fall, right? All the leaves, and he's jumping in the leaves, and I'm like, what? That looks itchy, and you're making me mad. We just raked all these up. So I was so uncomfortable, but jumping in the leaves. And so
Great.
just he's really done a great job of helping me find things to do to have fun and enjoy just having fun, snowmobiling, sledding, just being out doing things that I stopped doing at a pretty young age, honestly.
But I also see like doing nails and wanting to do nails, that is a childhood girly treasure, right?
Mhm.
Like a typical little girl thing that we do. And I see that inner child because you clung on to doing nails and bringing out the best in your cousins and showing them. And you also, I wanted to ask you if you were an artist because when I was in my 20s, I managed a beauty salon, and one of the manicurists was my best friend in my 20s. Like in my bridal party, all of that. And she loved the fact that she got to paint little pictures on nails. Is that a passion of yours? Is that a thing?
It's so fun. It really is. I don't get to do it as often anymore. And I so love the business operations things as well. running a salon takes you off of the floor a little bit. But
Cool.
I do think it's so fun, but I honestly love watching the team build their little masterpieces. They put so much work into them, and then they're so proud of it, and they send you the picture, and that is honestly where my heart gets so happy and excited, is when they're sending the picture and they're so proud of themselves. I'm not an artist.
No.
I'm not an artist. I love painting something on a small canvas like this, but don't give me a regular size canvas.
That's funny. I could see that association though, Tracy. Um, you know, you mentioned something, you kind of just pushed right past it. I want to bring it back on topic, and that is this idea that you are making a difference, that doing someone's nails is in some way contributing. Now, talk to me about that. How do you see that?
When you are sitting with a client or clients, and throughout the day, let's just actually break it down to one service. They come in, they at the end of their day, it's been a long one. Who knows what happened at work? Their boss yelled at them. The kids didn't get to work on time, whatever, right? And they come and they sit down and they take that big sigh. And you're like, okay, yes, it's now my time to take care of you. And that feels so good. Like just that big sigh and getting ready to take care of the person. And the person feels like, okay, now I finally get to relax. Like this is my safe space. That alone feels so good. So there's that. But then there's also it's kind of surprising to me to see the confidence level that someone that boosts when something as simple as getting their nails cleaned up or their feet cleaned up, and they suddenly have this just boost in confidence where they feel better about how they're looking, and so they're going to step out into the world feeling better as well. And so that is so valuable, and it's again fills my heart up. And a lot of where I get super passionate about the differences we can make in this industry is the nail technicians, because as a standard, there's not great places for them to work right now in a healthy environment, where they're not exposed to really harsh chemicals all day long or things like that. And so providing an environment for nail technicians to be able to work in a healthy way, do what they love without having to breathe in harsh chemicals, and give them ways to continue to develop their career versus feeling stuck. That is that's really where the big impact comes in my mind. And with Frenchies nationwide, it's really opening the doors to opportunities that 10 years ago didn't exist in this industry.
Wow. 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 Do you consider yourself to be an empathetic person?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like it's like at the top of your list.
Yes, it is. It's pretty high up there.
What do you think are some other attributes, or, that you think are your greatest strengths?
So I do, empathetic is certainly one of them. And I don't know if this would be how to make this into an attribute, but I really feel strongly and deeply that by helping others, you will be able to help yourself, and that and same vice versa, by allowing others to help you, you're helping them. So I think that where that comes in terms of attributes, I'm always looking for some way to help. And it's been so cool to see that ends up going both ways. And in the relationships that you build throughout, whether it's in business networking groups or just out in the community when you're talking about your business or looking for advice on your business. And I think that's something that I've give a lot of my success to, is just being willing to help in any area that I can, and also ask for a lot of help.
I think
Rebecca,
that's, oh, I'm sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
no, I think Rebecca's going to sum that up for
I
us.
am going to hit the nail on the head here, because this is so powerful that we, at least in my generation, it was all about giving, giving, giving. There was no thought of receiving, but the way you paired that up, that by allowing others to give to us, we're blessing them as they bless us. And I never thought of it that way. I have this mindset of it's more blessed to give than to receive. But by rejecting the giving, we are actually preventing them from the blessing that they want themselves. So I liked how you positioned that, Kayla.
Oh, thank you. I just think it's so many people struggle to ask for help, and my sister's one of them. So we're constantly working on it, and that's what I'm always saying. I want to be able to help you. Let me help you. And when you hear someone say that, you have to remember that you are helping them by allowing them to help you.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Do you think that there's two different ways to look at it? Like somebody might refuse help. So that might be more like somebody who's being more of like stoic or a martyr. No, I don't accept help, versus somebody who doesn't really know how to ask for it.
Oh, yes, there's certainly a difference. I think in one scenario, sometimes our ego gets in the way. And then in another scenario, sometimes our self-doubt gets in the way. So
Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. And the industry you are in, definitely by bringing the skills that your technicians have brought to your clients, they're contributing. But in turn, as you described, those clients are being blessed by giving a job to someone, or a career. In this case, with Frenchies, it's a true career.
yeah, letting someone do what they love.
Exactly. So what's next? Are you going to create a 3-story salon? Are you going to run for congresswoman? What's next for you?
Oh, this is a big question. So I loving the salon. We're still doing great, breaking records, and it's been amazing. Going to continue with that. And then as the director of education for Frenchies, just continuing to expand on our education as a brand. I love building, I build most of our education. And so really what I'm looking forward to right now, what I'm most excited about right now, is just getting ready to do some expanded soft skills training in 2024. So what's next in the career? I'm not exactly sure what's next yet, but I am certainly enjoying every moment of this, owning the salon and just growing with this franchise. We're at 24 locations, and I'm really excited for what 2024 has to bring.
Beautiful. So, okay, I heard a lot of professional what's next. So when you think about it, is there something that you've always wanted to try personally that you've never tried, or somewhere that you've always wanted to go that, always seemed like nice or sunny or exotic, or, what is there for you that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah. So I'm always looking to go back home and visit the family. That's huge for me. I know it's not exotic, but my sister has a little baby, and so going back and visiting her and the niece are so important to me. So my big, like, what's next for me is just finding more ways to get back to them as well. I try to go out like once a month or maybe once every other month, and so I'm constantly doing that and looking for, that's my exotic vacation, is visiting that 3-year-old.
Awesome.
But one thing that I've talked a lot about is going on a pretty like a week-long ice fishing trip and on the ice, like camping on the ice. So we're trying really hard to figure out how we can make that happen. We'll see.
That's exotic. That's really exotic. I don't think that would be on my list to sleep on ice, but
Oh my gosh, it's a whole nother world out here on the ice.
Becca, you're going to have to rewatch this interview because the look on your face was priceless when she said ice camping or ice fishing.
ice camping. I was not expecting that, Kayla. It's like I do remember going to Minnesota, Wisconsin with a very dear friend, and we took snowmobiles out on the ice, and I about had, and of course I'm from California, right? And we went out on the ice, and I'm thinking the whole time we're going to drown in this cold water. But the ice was so thick, we could just zip around on this, lake, basically, a big old hairy lake. So ice fishing, you're going to have to send us pictures, ice camping.
I
Yeah.
will. It's fascinating. I mean, these people, they build like a whole city on the ice. There's people biking around selling beer and drinks. Like they go all out. It's you have to learn to love winter here.
Yeah, Minnesota for sure. Crazy. So, it's interesting. You were talking about kind of losing a childhood because of the family circumstances. Um, but honestly, this little girl is coming out, as Tracy pointed out, in creating beauty and a little bit of art. And then you have a wonderful boyfriend that's making you explore some things. So it really sounds like you are trying to get this work-life balance and bring the adult and the child together in many ways.
Yes. And I mean, I'm endlessly grateful for it because, of course, there were things that weren't ideal, but I wouldn't be able to face or handle the things that I do today had that situation not played out the way that it did.
Yeah. And you said there that you believe in a hand in your life, right? That there you have a purpose. You're called to do something. You've been gifted with certain things. And part of that is we go through things in life that will develop our character and will develop our skills so we can fulfill that purpose. And even though those times sometimes are like, I don't want to go through that, in the end, it really does develop our character, and I like that you're grateful for it rather than resentful for it.
Yes, a journey in itself, but we're there.
Yeah. All
Beautiful.
right. So, Tracy, did you have another question? Because I want to make sure we give contact information too.
That's totally the question because you know what? Our listeners are definitely going to want more of Kayla.
Yeah. So how do we get hold of you when somebody wants to interview you for other shows? They want to learn more about Frenchies. How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, so I'd love to connect on LinkedIn, Kayla Bramlet, but you can also feel free to reach out to me over email, Kayla@frenchiesnails.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love your story. I wish we had 10 hours together because you have no idea how much your life and my life have paralleled. And I feel like I'm looking at a very young version of me that is 100 times smarter than I was at 26. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys so much. It was so fun chatting. I can't wait to meet in person someday.
We will. We will. And Tracy, do you have a wrap up for us? A takeaway?
I just love her. I love
I did
her. I
too.
feel like I just want to bring her to Florida.
Okay, I'm coming.
Come here and give me a hug. I love her. Kayla, you're just wise beyond your years. You're rich with stories. You're motivating. You inspire me. I think you're really passionate about what you do and just so motivated to continue learning and to be a lifelong learner. So thank you so much for setting that example for all young girls like Rebecca's granddaughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for us older girls.
That's right. Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even those late bloomers, right? So
Yes.
Oh.
Very inspiring.
love
Very,
it.
very wise.
Thank you, ladies. And thank you to those that are listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. Make sure to like, comment, most importantly, share this interview with those that need this kind of inspiration. And of course, we'll see you next week on another episode.